Hello, everybody. It's Sarah. Welcome to Unmuzzled. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to give a quick shout out to my sponsors, and then we're getting right to our guest because I know this is going to be a long podcast because she can talk, and I want to hear everything she has to say. She's wonderful. So here we go. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a spacious yard, they're the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch believes there's no greater joy than a delightful time with your dog or dogs. We have many over here. So they make irresistible lickable treats that are easy to use while walking, training, grooming, familying, and friending, and even vet visits. I use them so much for my clients in my pet care business. Really great tool for training dogs. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of the CBH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Anytime you can give the directions of like go over the railroad tracks and get somewhere, I feel like you're in a good spot. Like just go there. It's probably a really cute little town. Kiki's Corner, we love you. And thank you, Canine Cruise and Bark Pouch, for being amazing sponsors. I'm bringing Michele in right now. Many of you know Aladdin and Aladdin Nation and the incredible legacy that she has made in his honor. So welcome, Michele. So good to see you.
You too.
Yay. So I got to see Michele about a month ago now. At the Jersey Shore. So Michele lives on the East Coast. That's where Aladdin lived. He loved the beach. But I want to start from the beginning, Michele, because I think it's so important for people to hear his story. And then just like Rue and Live Like Rue, you have really created, and by the way, I have his shirt on. This is what Michele gifted me when I was in the Jersey Shore. So I really do want to hear his story, and just he left such a legacy, and you continue to just build on it. So let's kind of start from the beginning.
So Aladdin was found in 2013 at the side of the road. Someone had starved him. His legs were broken. His tail was broken. He was missing teeth. He had a lot of open wounds, and he came into our rescue, Lilo's Promise. Actually, someone from the Camden County shelter reached out to me directly to ask me to take him because I had taken several emaciated dogs prior to him. And Lilo's said, go ahead. I brought him in, and he had a very long recovery. He basically weighed 18 pounds. He was almost a 48-pound dog. So he had a long time to get his health back, get his weight back, and then he had physical therapy. But he just loved people. And within 8 months of getting him, he became a certified therapy dog. And he just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, and I love too that you knew. I know it takes a little while to get that therapy certification, but you knew really almost instantly that he was made to go into hospitals and with children. Really like amazing work he did in those places.
He had a great connection with people, and that's why I thought of him becoming a therapy dog. But I don't think when I started this process that I fully understood just how amazing a connection he had. I mean, he literally, when we first started going to Ronald McDonald House, he knew exactly what he was doing, where he was going, and he would oftentimes go up to parents, and I would redirect him to the children. And I finally had a parent come up to me and say, you have no idea how much it means to me to be able to spend time with Aladdin. You know, my pet is at home. I'm worried about my child. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's when it hit me, like, he knows what he's doing. And he did. And he would go on to bark at people in the airport. He never made a noise unless I took him out of the ocean, or he wanted to meet someone and I would not let him. And he literally would go up to complete strangers And every single time something had happened to them, they lost a pet, they lost a family member, they had a breakup, they were sick. He just knew. Like, and I have another dog that was a therapy dog, and he was a great, happy dog, loved to be with people, but he didn't have the understanding that Laddie did.
Yeah, and he really latched on, and I should say more so, like people really latched on to him, including, and I think, when you have a dog like this, what is really a positive thing that can happen is that somebody, a big name, a Philadelphia Eagle or somebody on the Phillies, or
Yeah.
kind of like latches onto it and gives your cause legs, because initially it was just a dog, right? That came from a really awful background, and to be able to grow that and then be able to help other people really is what it's all about. So are you so thankful kind of that people saw him and said, hey, this is a dog I want to meet and get a picture with?
Very, very thankful. I mean, over the years, we would have complete strangers screaming Laddie when we walked through the airport. We were at the Beverly Hilton for the Hero Dog Awards, and a woman came over to me to meet Laddie, and her husband was in the cast of This Is Us. And then most of the cast came over and took pictures with him. I mean, it was so unbelievable to me that people knew who he was, because to us, he was just our dog. And I mean, I can see you're showing the Hero Dog Awards right now. So he was presented his medal for his therapy dog work from Richard Marks and Daisy Fuentes, who have 2 pit bulls, and who really got that he was sending a message out to people, showing them just what amazing dogs pit bulls are. So that meant a lot to me that they were the ones that presented to us.
Yeah, and I think too, same with Rue, having a pit bull type dog that does have people watching, what you're doing, helps that breed so much. When you can show Laddie in the ocean, swimming, enjoying time with kids, that just helps everything that we try to do for the breed. It really is remarkable. So take us to a little bit of the end. I know it's hard. I don't want to fast forward too much, but I want to get to all the great stuff you're doing now. I think, I talked about this on the podcast last week when I talked about Live Like Rue. It's really hard when you have a dog like this, number one, to go through the anticipatory grief that is coming, which we talk a lot about on this podcast too. But then to have to go through it, not just by yourself, but then tell everybody what happened. It rips your heart out. It really does. It's almost like a second layer of grief. So
yeah,
how hard was that?
It was really, really difficult. I mean, not only did, I lose the one that I was with all the time, work, home, traveling, but everything that we did together just stopped. So no more Ronald McDonald House on Mondays, no more school visits. So it was just this huge, huge adjustment. And I guess maybe a month after he died was the HSUS conference, which Laddie always was one of their celebra dogs, and he attended for years. And they asked me to come, and I did. And in a way, it was nice to hear how much he meant to people that had met him, complete strangers, but to hear that over and over again every day was just heartbreaking. And someone had actually written an obituary for him, a writer named Joe Mason. And it was just a local thing, but it got picked up by iHeartRadio, and they did their own obituary. And then the stories got picked up by Yahoo. And the week after he died, it was the #1 trending story on Yahoo, his life and his obituary. And that was very humbling to realize that, I think at one point, like, I couldn't go on his page and read the messages because I just couldn't. And iHeartRadio's story said like 3 days after he died, there was over 10,000 messages left on his page for me and my family. And eventually I did read them, but yeah, it was really heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think that's what happens is you kind of, you go into this deep hole of like, I'm missing my dog, and you get so many people reaching out, which is so nice, but it's also like it's like reliving it over and over. And then you have the anniversaries, which, getting the anniversary of Rue's death was on Friday. Getting all those messages kind of takes you back to that day
Yep.
and how tough it is. It's really, really hard. So I know for you, and people ask me, Sarah, like, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do in Rue's memory? And I think, after you get through that little bit of mourning, it's not a little bit, it's a lot, but it kind of springboards you when you have so many people hanging on your every move and every picture that you share that maybe people haven't seen, or videos. So what happened kind of, in those weeks, months leading, afterwards, and now leading up to today?
Well, I mean, it was very, I would get messages on when I still hadn't gone on to Laddie's page to read everything. And I would get messages on my personal page. I remember waking up one morning at like 6 a.m. A nurse from CHOP wrote me a message about what Laddie meant to her. She had met him once, and when COVID was happening and they were working long hours and people were dying, that she would go home and look at Laddie's page. And at the time, we were doing like Zoom therapy visits because we couldn't do actual therapy visits. And she had done a visit with us, and her letter, like, I just sat in bed and sobbed. That I was at Target, and this soldier sent me a letter saying how he always followed Laddie's page, and he had a problem with alcohol, and he had tried to commit suicide, and another soldier had told him about Laddie's page, and he went on and started following it, and he went to the shelter and he adopted his own pit bull. And he said that it made such a difference in his life, and now he actually works with veterans. But he said his biggest regret was not sending me that letter sooner so I could read it to Laddie, and not having the opportunity for him to meet Laddie. And things like that, like, of course, it makes you tear up to think about it. But I knew that him making such a difference to people that he hadn't even met, I didn't want that to just stop. So we started a business down shore, and it's called Aladdin's Beach Brew and Ice Cream. And we sell our own cold brew coffee, and we use the proceeds to underwrite adoption events. We host adoptable dogs down at the Wildwood Dog Beach. We do a lot of children's programs with the police and the fire departments. We underwrite National Night Out because that was Laddie's favorite event ever. He would come down, and North Wildwood is where we live, and he would do National Night Out there, and people would line up to meet him. And the first year that we did it without him, we were there pouring coffee, and so many people came up to say how sorry they were, or give us a picture that they had taken with Laddie in the prior years. And I just kind of made it my mission to be able to carry on his acts of kindness and be able to help other people, even though he still isn't here. I mean, I didn't want everything he did to just stop.
Yep, I feel that. I feel that deeply, for sure. And I think that is what keeps us going. It keeps you going even when you rescue the next one. I know you've got a house full of rescues, and you always took the broken and the abandoned and the, bony, very skinny dogs. But I think too, is there, can you kind of tell me how he changed your life? If you can look back now, I know sometimes that's hard. But you took a chance on a dog, and he really is changing lives still.
Well, I had rescued many emaciated dogs. I'd fostered many dogs. And I was working as an administrator for a plastic surgery office, which is what I had always done as an adult, been a practice administrator. And I got Aladdin and I brought him to work with me. And we started to work with Allergan, the company that makes Botox. And they did a Beauty for Bullies program that was picked up in a lot of offices where you could come in and get Botox, and for every unit of Botox you got, X amount of dollars would be donated to the shelter or rescue of your choice. And that was like one of the first things that I did with him. And then we started working with Tito's Vodka, and they sent us to events all over the United States, and they would donate the vodka to any 501c3 charity, and Lottie would host the event. And then we got involved with Show Your Soft Side, the nationwide anti-animal abuse campaign. And we started to do some things with the NFL. And he was the kindness ambassador for State Farm's Kindness is Powerful program. I mean, he did so much. But when we first started, I don't know if you remember this, but he was banned from a local hospital. They accepted his therapy dog paperwork. They told me they would get him started in a couple days, and I never heard from them. And I followed up with them a couple times, and they finally told me that they were not going to allow him into the program because he was a pit bull. And I had discussed this with Jen and Heather, who I do Lilo's Promise with, and Heather did a post online. And I woke up the next morning and I had messages from news agencies, from newspapers, TV stations, because Heather had done this post, and local people that knew Laddie and that followed his page shut down the phone systems at Virtua Hospital. They were picketing, all because they wouldn't allow him to work as a therapy dog. And I mean, I think back to that happened in 2014. And I think all the things that he did and all the patients that lost out on meeting him and what he went on to do to try to change people's perception of the pit bull just really hit home, especially because of that. So, I mean, we worked as a crisis response team. We were first responders at the Pulse nightclub shooting. We were dispatched to hurricanes. We worked in Florida several times after hurricanes. And I mean, he just touched so many people, and he did so many things. Like, if you asked me to write them all down, I don't think I could. And
Yeah.
It was just him. Like, all I did was hold the leash. Everything that happened was him.
Yeah, I mean, really extraordinary. And there's a book, there's an Aladdin book. So you sent me a copy. It's an amazing book. Everybody, please go and get it. It seriously is great. Where can they get that?
So they can get it on Aladdin's page, and until November. And then it's actually been picked up by a worldwide distributor, and it will be in Barnes and Nobles. But if you buy it directly from his page, for every book that's purchased, we donate a book to a school, a library, a Ronald McDonald House, a hospital. In fact, when someone is ordering it, if they send me a message and tell me where they want the book sent, we send them there.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's an amazing book. Please, everybody, snag it. I love my copy.
Well, our goal with the book was to be able to continue to spread his story into schools and inspire other people to do acts of kindness. And we actually last fall, the fall before he died, we got a request to put his books in a classroom in Camden. And there was like 20 some students. I said, sure, no problem. We donated the books. And then I found out there were 5 third grade classes, which was, I think, almost 200 children. So I couldn't afford to donate all the books. And I reached out to Rodney McLeod, who played for the Eagles. Rodney has his own foundation. And Rodney and his wife, Erica, paid for the books to be donated. And then our friend Rob did a story on it because the teacher in the classroom was Logan Ryan, who also is another NFLer, his sister-in-law. So they actually were playing the Giants. He was playing for the Giants at the time, and they were playing the Giants that Sunday when Rob did the story. So it was kind of nice to see one guy from an opposing team do something to help another guy's family. And like, that's what Laddie is all about.
Yeah, just an amazing legacy he left. That makes me tear up. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's
So sweet.
Definitely been a big adjustment without him.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, similar to Rue, we have both learned from an animal to live in the moment, live like Rue literally means like live every minute, live every day. But for you, is that kind of your mantra as you go forward? I know some days it's hard because you're always, kind of looking ahead at what's next, but really that's the message from Aladdin.
Definitely. I mean, I didn't even want to see my own dogs after Laddie died, let alone foster or bring another dog into the house. And it was a while before I did, but there was a dog that came from West Philadelphia that was living in a car. And I had seen his picture on Facebook from a friend, not even his face, just his little body in a car with other dogs and people. And I went and found him, and it was really difficult to consider bringing another dog in after losing Laddie. And I mean, it was about a year before we took him. But I went to see and meet this dog who actually was on property that my grandfather used to own. And I kind of felt like that was Laddie sending me a message. And Jack is, I don't know if you've seen him on my page. He's little and he was skinny when we got him and sick, and his front legs are bowed and his back legs are flat-footed and his teeth are all filed down. And he has brought us a lot of joy since Laddie left. Like, you think you're never going to smile again or laugh or not think of Laddie. And Jack has been a really good addition to our family, and hopefully I'm going to work with him a little bit and he'll be able to do some therapy work like Laddie did. So
I love that in his honor. That would be amazing. And I know that's not easy. It's not easy, but it's always worth it. That's what I always say. It can be really, really hard, but if you can get there, it's so worth it. Thank you, Michele, for everything you do. I know that you have a lot of super fans out there. I've got a lot of people really excited about this podcast, and I love that you continue his legacy, and I'm happy to help you carry it on and share. And I love that you were able to tell the story today. So thank you. Everybody go follow Aladdin Nation. Oh, do you want to mention also that event you just had?
Oh, so we do a lot of local charities, and I mean, we pretty much go anywhere, but we just did an event at Keenan's in North Wildwood. I don't know if you're not from the East Coast, you're probably not familiar with the New Year's Day parade, but this gentleman with Laddie is Denny Palandro, and he's the captain of South Philadelphia String Band. And in 2019, after the parade, his son, another member of the string band, his girlfriend, and Denny's daughter-in-law were in an automobile accident, and only his daughter-in-law survived. The other 3 people were killed. And they started a charity called the Palandro Ferry Foundation, and they provide scholarships to kids in Philadelphia. It's a great charity. We ended up doing an event for them this weekend, selling our coffee and selling Laddie's books, and the funds that we raised were donated to them. And it means a lot to be able to do stuff for people in our community. Denny loved Laddie. Laddie loved Denny. You could see Laddie looks a little miserable there in that picture. I think it was all the sequins. But I mean, it means a lot. And like when Laddie had cancer, you guys were there for Laddie. You sent him that great gift box. And we used to go to McDonald's after he got radiation so he could get his soft serve ice cream. And like now we're going through that with Boley, that one of our oldest dog just got diagnosed with mast cell cancer. And I mean, what you guys do is so amazing to people who have an animal that's sick and dying. And it's just, we love what you do. And I'm really happy that Rob connected us all those years ago.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because I think we're very similar in trying to, carry on these legacies the right way. And I really do believe in doing things the right way. I know we talk about that a lot on this podcast, but thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time. And I love hearing the seagulls in the background. It makes me really wish for the Jersey Shore, even in September. It's my place.
September's the best month.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's so nice down here.
Everybody leaves, and you kind of have the beach to yourself, which I know for you is good, because after a crazy 3 months, it can be a little bit stressful.
It's a nice little break. So
yeah, for sure. Thank you, Michele. Everybody go follow all their pages. I'll be sure to link them. Have a great night.
You too. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I'm going to just do a little rollout of our supporting sponsors, but thank you so much to Michele. Aladdin Nation is the page. I know a lot of you already follow, but if you're not following, she's doing amazing work in his honor. I still have tears in my eyes from that. It was so good. Thank you to the following supporting sponsors. Twin Tails Market and Barkery is a local family-owned business that has been serving the community for close to 7 years. Located in Palos Park, Twin Tails has everything you need to give your dogs and cats healthy and natural foods, treats, chews, toys, and so much more. You can also find them at www.twintailsmarket.com and on Facebook and Instagram as Twin Tails Market. The Canine PT specializes in helping senior dogs improve their independence with their daily routine as they age, heal, or recover post-surgery through exercise, massage, laser, and acupuncture, so they can live their golden years without the need of pain medication. Anything is Possible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Liz Stark's a guaranteed rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, or investors, give Liz a call. She can lend in all 50 states. NMLS number 224526. Kimberly Kingen Photography. Kimberly is a professional photographer from Chicago who loves animals as much as you do. Her pet portraiture celebrates pure love, connection, and the beauty of life with our furry loved ones by our side. Kimberly has done some bucket list photo shoots for our Live Like Roo dogs. She does amazing work. Please check her out for your holiday photos coming up too. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening. Got great numbers. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the sponsors. If you have a guest idea, please email me, saralauch@gmail.com. It's SARAHLAUCH@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.